I must admit to being a little bit giddy. I've seen Jamie go across there and not catch anything. My peg's solid. Oh my word. And that's the beauty of like this time of year when it's coming out of cold and sort of like a little bit warmer. It's just brilliant. And like obviously we'll go through the rigs now that we're going to go through to catch these fish. Basically what I'm looking for is sort of 3 foot of water. Winter time I look 3 to 4 foot. Now it's coming a little bit warmer now, so I'm going to try and find sort of 3 foot. It's a lovely depth. The warmer it gets, obviously the shallower water you want to be in. The reason being is the fish are more active, you're going to get more liners and far lookers if you're fishing too deeper water. So let me talk you through the all important rig. We've got a MAP 5 to 8 hollow elastic on. Now I've already had a couple of fish, I must admit, and it's been a bit weird playing on this, like what I'd call heavy elastic. I've been on sort of single 6s, single 8s all winter, and it's quite nice actually when you're clunking into them fish and they're swimming down that slope. It's lovely, but what it is, it's very soft, so it allows for all them sort of like big lunges that the F1s are gonna do, and obviously the carp, if they're going to waddle off a bit, get them back to your top kit, use your puller. It's fantastic, it doesn't half subdue them. So the main rig itself, we've got 0.15 main line. Now 15 mainline, I tend to go on everything sort of summer and winter. It doesn't really make a blind bit of difference. It's the hook length that we'll come to in a sec that makes a difference. Now, I'm a big advocate usually, certainly when the water's clear, of using a long length of line between pole tip and float. We're not doing today. The reason being is you'll see when I go and plumb up, we're in a tiny little gap. It's only sort of like 10 or 12 inches across, and there's a little bit of a wind on it, which is why we've got back shot on, which we'll come to in a sec. And if I had too much line on, it's going to be blowing the rig around, and I want it to stay put right over my feed, and it'd be blowing it into sort of like the grass that we've got over there. So that's why I've gone a little bit shorter. There's a bit of colour in the water, so it's not too bad. Just above the float, sort of 3-4 inches above the float, we've got 2 back shots, 2 number 8s back shot. You can see I've Tipp-X'd them out white. You know, it's something that I always use back shot. I never go fishing without them. The reason being is it just stabilises that rig, keeps it exactly where you want it. And the reason for Tipp-X'ing them out white is because it's dark water over there. If I had them dark, straight out of the tub, you wouldn't be able to see them, you're giving yourself false bites. And I think Jamie needed to do that because he hadn't been getting any bites. So, right, onto the float itself. Now, I've just come onto these from sort of using a more streamlined float, which I'll show you later on when we go down the middle. The reason for sort of like a more bulbous rugby ball shaped float is that you've got something to hold back against. It's only a short stem float because we're fishing in relatively shallow water. The float that Jamie was using for his dobbing, that's what I've been using pretty much all winter. Nice sort of like streamlined, stretch rugby ball shaped float with a little bit of a longer stem. But when you're fishing in shallow water, you don't want sort of like a bigger float because it can become a bit obtrusive. Massive word for me that, I haven't got a clue what it means. Notice still on wire stem. Now coming into sort of like proper summer mode, I go to like carbon or glass. The trouble with wire is it's going to settle too quick, which is what we want this time of year, but it's going to settle too quick and it just sort of like bends out a little bit too much, wire obviously. So wire stem for this time of year. Coming down the line, so it's bang on 3 foot actually. We've got a series. You can pick that up. We've got a series of number 11s. Now, there's probably 9, 10 or 11 on there. Now, the reason I put more shot on, but less weight, is presentation, basically. If these are fish are coming sort of like more on the job, I can move them even further up the line. But as it is, pretty much, I don't think I'll change the shotting from where it is. And it just allows me to, you know, experiment basically, rather than putting the same amount of weight in sort of 5 or 6 number 10s. I get the same amount of weight in sort of like 9 or 10 number 11s. The presentation's miles better. So we've got a 6-inch hook length on, and them shots are in what sort of a 5 or 6 inch, you know, gap just above that. Coming onto the hook length itself, we're using a 0.10. Now there's some great big waddly carp in here, massive F1s. F1s aren't a problem, but the carp, if they're a bit angry now, because it is coming into spring a bit, I don't want to go too heavy to start off with. I can always change up, but you know, quite often in the matches or your sessions, you want quick results, so you want to make sure you're going in and getting bites. So I always tend to fish a little bit lighter to start off with, and then should I start hooking more carp, or if I get snapped a couple of times, then it's just simply a case of changing that hook length. What I don't want to do is go in with like a 0.12 thinking, the fish are going to have it. If they don't, then obviously you've got to come back, change your hook length. So always start off a little bit lighter, it's miles better. Hook wise, we've got an 18s, it's a Guru F1 pellet hook. Fantastic hooks, use them all winter as well, and they've still got enough strength for this time of year. We'll go through plumbing up next, and what I'm looking for, as I say, I'm looking for a depth of roughly around 3 foot. Don't want to go any shallower, and I certainly don't really want to go any deeper because of light lines and this, that and the other. So without further ado, let's go through the plumbing up.